Hello everyone, I'm Broughy1322 and welcome back to the Chalky Hazard Podcast, episode 75. And we're back on the main channel. This video is brought to you by my second channel, Broughy's Random Bits. Subscribe to it via the link in the description for random clips that don't make it to the main channel, as well as full-blown Let's Plays, with my current project being to play through all the GTA games before GTA 6. It's been a while. I'm here with my usual co-host, Sugar-Free Nos over there.
That's me. Hello.
I'm used to saying RDT, but he's not here. Josh down there.
Oh, hello, yeah. I'm not RDT this time.
And Hammer is in the booth as our producer.
Hello.
And no RDT. So RDT's missing out on the return of the podcast to the main channel. We're going to talk. There's plenty to talk about this week. Talking about why we're coming back to the main channel, my PhD stuff and new video intros. Josh is in a brand new location once again for like the 15th time during the course of his stay on this podcast. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Gaming news, Racing Corner is going to be interesting as well. I guess we just got to get into it. So we're back on the main channel, and it's a decision that has been coming for a while. I think I've been umming and ahhing about this decision for a while, and it just felt like it was the right time, because I think over the course of actually more episodes of the podcast are on the main channel still than they are on the podcast channel. You know, I know that it doesn't seem like that in terms of time.
Yeah, we really churned them out there at the beginning, didn't we?
Yeah, we were doing weekly podcasts at the start. And then it went to bi-weekly, I think, and then eventually monthly.
And now, whenever.
I mean, it's still meant to be monthly now, but I mean, you know, we miss them sometimes. But it feels like it's changed a lot since we left the main channel, because so much time has gone, but we haven't actually had that many episodes off the main channel on the podcast channel. Maybe 30, I think, episodes in total. Just over
that's
30.
a lot when it's monthly.
Yeah, that's true. That's why the time's gone. But we've had like 40, I think 42 was when we switched over to the podcast channel, episode 42. So we had a lot originally, but we're back.
I can't believe we've had that many episodes.
I know,
Doesn't
right?
feel like that.
This is episode 75. It's going to be a while still before we get to... It's going to be at least another 2 years before we get to 100. So we've got plenty of time. But yeah, we've had lots of fun things to talk about, lots of interesting things to talk about the last couple of months, last few years, really. I think the podcast, in my opinion, it's gotten better. Josh is now a permanent member rather than a guest. Oh my God. the exact moment that I start praising Josh, he takes a phone call. Are you serious?
I'm sure it's important. He would be answered if it wasn't important.
So professional. It has to be, surely. It has to be incredibly... This has to be it has to be a doctor calling him about a test result or something for him to...
I guarantee you, 100% it's
He's
fake.
just called somebody else! Oh my God, the timing. Our first time podcast back on the main channel for like 2-3 years, the moment that I praise the fact that Josh is a permanent member and this happens. Oh man, we do have the chat as we always used to do with the podcast. That's all there. As he's probably just ordering pizza. That's exactly right. But no, despite what we're seeing from Josh right now, he has been an excellent addition to the podcast.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good. I like him. I picked a very good content creator to completely fanboy over, and then just forced to come meet me and have a podcast with me. So
yeah, I agree. And we've just had loads of good stuff to talk about. We've had loads of really good discussions, and I just feel like it's kind of the podcast. It doesn't get watched, honestly, on the podcast channel, and even if it doesn't get watched on the main channel, it's still going to get watched more than not getting watched on the podcast channel.
Yes.
When you look at the reviews of the podcast from the main channel, even back when it was, back when it was new and the odd episode and weekly and stuff, that I don't think any of the podcast channel episodes has as many views as most of the episodes that went up on the main channel all those years ago. So I don't know, I just felt like, especially if we've got something important to talk about like the GTA 6 stuff, just having that on the main channel, and people might decide to click on the podcast and watch it because we're talking about GTA 6, even if they're not watching it every single week. It's a better way. And then the podcast channel is going to continue to be there for the pre-show, which I highly recommend watching for this week because it was hilarious. And little clips and things like that will continue with the podcast channel for that. But I think the main channel coming back, the full show coming back on the main channel once a month, it's the best idea. Josh?
I wholeheartedly agree with everything you just said. I was definitely listening.
Can you give us a detailed description and review of everything that we said during that?
Yeah, man, the main channel, the podcast is so good. You think it's worthwhile content, more people to watch it. GTA 6, you definitely mentioned that. Yeah, sorry. Random important phone calls, my bad.
I was saying it better have been like a doctor calling you for a test result. That level of importance for you to have answered the call during the podcast.
Coordinated Amazon delivery, does that count?
I'll allow it. I think.
Okay, good.
Okay,
because I had to read.
I could go to the doctor.
I had to read like a code and everything. So yeah.
Here's one final point on the fact that it's coming back to the main channel. The most viewed video on the podcast channel is that little chat me and Nos had about GTA 6 leaks.
Yeah.
So I think that shows it all on its own. It wasn't even a main podcast channel episode, main episode that was the most viewed. So we're back. Welcome back, everybody.
I would like to think that your viewership is a little better than it used to be. Maybe that a little more of them actually like care about you as a person and don't just oh my god GTA.
Yeah, that's
possible. Hopefully some more people will watch the podcast.
Yeah, and you never know. One person watches one episode and they're like, oh, this is fun, and then they watch the rest of the episodes. And
I'm gonna hate watch this Nos guy every month.
And the fact that it's the fact that it's okay, train of thought immediately gone. Damn, I hate it when that happens. That's it. The fact that it's monthly now rather than weekly, how it used to be. It feels like I'm not just throwing it out, shoving it down people, sort of spamming in the podcast all the time. So it just feels so much better, and especially when we're not putting all the extra stuff, we're continuing that on the podcast channel. The old podcasts are not going to move to the main channel. The full episodes are staying on the podcast channel, but there is the podcast playlist I've reactivated on the main channel, and I've unlisted, so public. I've made public again the original podcast episodes on the main channel, like the Mr. Boss interview that had like 25,000 views and stuff like that.
Legendary content.
Yeah, that's all public again. So basically every podcast episode that's in the playlist is the original upload, just no matter where it is, main channel or podcast channel. So yeah. Now, the first couple of things we're going to talk about are me-centric. I was thinking in a way to sort of,
Typical.
Bring people in, because I haven't spoken about much on the podcast recently. I've had nothing really to report. And I've finally got things to talk about. And the fact that it's the first episode on the main channel, I thought, oh, maybe people would be interested if we start off like this, bring them back in. But I know, Nos, you were interested in this, the whole PhD thing. Mm-hmm. And my email rejection.
Yes. Because you how did you describe this rejection email again?
I honestly can't remember, but it wasn't anything positive.
Yeah, it's been like 3 years ago that you told me this, and I was like, I want to hear about this.
So yeah, for those who didn't see the video, I am doing a PhD. I have a little update on that. I'm actually deferring it to next year, so I'm going to be starting next year instead of this year. I was going to be starting now. We'll talk about that in a second why.
We'll win next year though.
September. Well, October technically, actually.
Ah, okay.
Typical doctor, always late. God damn it. But yeah, the whole process of even like getting onto a PhD course is like it just blew my mind how difficult and nuanced it is, and how you've just, especially from being out of it for like 10 years. I did my master's degree 10 years ago. Going back into it was, I mean, I had no idea what I was doing. I had to just email random people to find a supervisor who wanted to, supervise my work, basically, who thought there was a valid piece of research in what I was proposing. So I basically just had to email all these people, look on these, on the university websites for all the universities that were close by to me, find the emails of people who might be in my field. And so I sent out a lot of emails with the sort of my proposed idea for my research. And obviously, eventually, I found someone who thought it was a good idea and wanted to continue. And that's how I got onto the PhD in the first place. I applied, they accepted me, and all that kind of stuff. But most of the emails I sent out got no reply. But there was one in particular that got a very derogatory reply. Let's say
that's how you described it. Thank you. You said it was derogatory, and I was wondering how on earth it could be derogatory. Is he just call you a stupid kid? Like,
I mean, basically.
Is that spoilers?
Oh man,
is that spoilers?
So
it's like them video games. There's no value in them video games.
So I'm gonna read it, but I'm gonna not read it so specific that you can tell exactly where it is or who it is or anything like that.
Of course.
Basically, you guys, if you've seen the video, my idea is to do a piece of research on why people get involved in online communities and all that kind of stuff. And basically, that was very similar to my master's degree dissertation. So I'm basically sort of wanting to continue that on a bigger scale. And I sent my master's degree dissertation with these emails that I sent to people as a, this is my past work. Do you think I'm even capable of doing this sort of thing? Just generally asking for advice. If it wasn't going to be asking, if someone wasn't going to be a supervisor for me, at least they could give me some advice. And there was one or two people who actually sent me emails saying, try this route or something like that, because I can't do it. But so that was helpful. But this guy, now my master's dissertation at the time scored very highly. I got a distinction on my master's course, and the guy, my supervisor for my master's dissertation, wanted me to do a PhD back then, but I was sort of done with education at that point.
Is there a place we can read your master's dissertation? If there isn't a place, can you make a place?
I could always upload it somewhere. I mean, it's quite, it's 10 years ago now. I went back and read a little bit of it, and I was kind of like, I'd probably do that a little bit better now. But
well, that's every piece of work any human being ever does.
But yeah, so I can put it up somewhere, I suppose. Maybe on the site. I'll look into it. But yeah, the email I got back from this guy, and he's sort of head of the the technological IT school of the university that I eventually ended up going to, but as part of the school of creative arts and stuff like that instead. It all just depends on where the supervisor is who will agree to work with you. But the email back from this guy was, "Dear Adam, thanks for your email. As standards have gone up, your former master's dissertation is similar to some final year reports, or even at a lower scale for our school. It will be better if you contact a different school. If one day your firm is growing successfully, hopefully we can do KTP. Best wishes, thanks and regards." Because I mentioned about the fact that I was doing, I have grown a business doing this sort of stuff. And from what I understand, I have no idea. I had no idea what KTP meant, but it's some knowledge transfer partnership or something like that. But when I read that, it was basically yeah, get smart and noob, pretty much what Rainbow said.
Imagine judging a master's thesis, which is inherently on something brand new, on the current standards of today about the same fucking subject.
Yeah,
that's so stupid. That's so stupid.
It's
I'm trying to think of an analogy for that. One will come to me. eventually.
Yeah, it was pretty rough when I got that, because I think that was like one of the first responses I actually got from this emails that I'd sent out. And for the first like half an hour of having received it, I thought, oh yeah, well, no one else was responding to me. I was already full of doubt that I could even do this anyway. So I was like, all right, well, that solidifies it. There's no point. I'm not good enough. Forget it. And then in half an hour later, I was like, fuck him. I'm going to do it anyway. But
that's called growth, baby. Yeah. That's what that is. That's called personal growth.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I just couldn't believe someone could be that, like, I mean, I guess that's academia. Some people in academia are like that. But if you, he could have just not responded. They have to
get something out of it, because God knows they're not getting fucking paid. So like they've got to have this pompous attitude, because they just go home highly educated and still poor? No, like you gotta have something to go home with to feel better about yourself.
Oh my!
Now you know what they say: those who can't do, they teach. So.
Yeah, well, that was one of the first responses I got. Exclusive to this podcast, there you go, the actual response that I talked about in that PhD video. Eventually, I actually found someone who seems very nice and, actually saw the value of my stuff.
I'm pretty sure that professor is confirmed to have spent tens of thousands of his own money on Amaranth, and just doesn't want you prying into the psychology of how someone ends up like him. That's my fan theory.
Yeah, that's.
It's like if I allow this man to do his research, he's gonna out me. He's gonna out me as a simp and all of my other simps.
Very well. Yeah. As Phil Hoff says, even if they're 100% certain that you're incapable, that response is poor. I mean, that's what I thought. He could have just given me nothing, and it would have been better than that.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the attitude. That's why I don't know. I just hate people in that position of like feeling mentally superior to someone else. You know? It's like anyone who feels like that, I just pretty much write them off.
Yeah.
Skill issue. That's what they should have sent back.
Skill issue, yeah. Oh man. So yeah, I am actually deferring it until next year. I did start it technically. There were sort of 3 mandatory sessions that I had to attend, and then basically everything else is just for the next 7 years. It's on me to do. But it kind of, as I was doing these mandatory sessions, and I was realizing I know that it's overwhelming at the start, but even with that in mind, the scope of everything that I had to do, and the fact that 2 years of it I'm going to be spending 15 hours a week, 15 hours a week just reading research from other people before I even start doing research on my own, and all this kind of stuff. It just and everything came together so quickly in the application. I didn't really expect that I was going to be, first of all, doing it at all, whether I'd get accepted to do something like this, and then I didn't expect to be starting now. I kind of set out on the journey a year ago, and I thought it would take a lot longer, to be honest. So I felt like I needed to give myself a year to get used to it, figure out the idea, sort out time-wise and stuff like that. And to be honest, even now that, the cold, hard truth is setting in of the sheer amount of work that this is going to be, is it something I can even do right now? I think I still need to make that decision over the next year. Maybe, children are going to be coming on the way. Can I take 15 hours away? No, that's not a.
What?
That's not an announcement. That's like, at some point in the next 7 years of me doing this PhD, children will be part of that future. Sorry.
Oh man.
Sorry.
That's a slip up there, bro.
Imagine having children who fucking does that.
Sorry, that was a little slip.
Imagine being fertile.
Oh man. For any new podcast watchers, go back and watch some of the previous episodes and you'll understand what Nos is going on about. But yeah, like it just as all of that was setting in, I needed to defer it a little bit. Well, for the year, that was an option that was open to me. I spoke to some of the leads and the supervisor and stuff like that, and I said it's totally fine, because I need to make sure that if I'm starting something like this, I can actually finish it and I can devote 15 hours a week for the next 7 years. And truthfully, as it is right now, I can't take 15 hours a week away from making money. I'm earning less money now than what I was last year. So
welcome to capitalism.
Yeah. So yeah, I needed to take a bit more time because it all came about so quickly and I wasn't expecting, honestly. So I'll keep everyone updated. I feel a little bit of an idiot, truthfully, to have like only had that realization once it started. Like it probably could have been something that I should have realized before I started or even before I went for it. But I think like the allure of just doing this big research project caught up to me. Like it just pulled me in a little bit more. We're used to you being an idiot. That's fine. All right.
Well, sometimes you got to get into it to realize, like, this is a lot more than I thought. So
yeah, and it's not necessarily massively more than what I thought it was going to be, but I think I was able to not think about it as much when it wasn't real, when I was still going through the application process and stuff like that. So I'll keep everybody updated on how it goes. I wish I hadn't put up the video announcing it, honestly, just in case I don't end up doing it. Like, I'm gonna have to put some updates into like pinned comment. Maybe I'll put this in the pinned comment of that video or something
because now you'll never hear the end of it.
I know, right? I know. Dr. Broughy.
Did you play GTA when you announced it? Were you playing GTA? I can't remember.
No.
Oh, you're fine. You're good.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You're good. If you didn't announce it during a G-Fred, no one knows it happened. So,
so yeah, I'm deferring it officially for a year, and then we'll see what happens in a year's time, and I'll keep you guys updated. So the next topic of conversation. Thank you everybody for the support, by the way, on that video. It was crazy levels of support and happiness and positivity, and it was really nice. It's like people are nice in this community. They'd like to see people do well. It's nice. It's a change to the internet in general. The other thing that caused quite the ruckus on the pre-show and has caused a small ruckus in the community in general and comments and things like that is the new video intros to my main channel videos. How do we explain what happened on the pre-show?
I do have a question. How much are your the pre-roll ads? Could I just pay you to put a clip of what I said as the pre-roll ad? You could this video is brought to you by Sugar Free NASA. It's just me saying what I said earlier. I'll shoot you. I'll shoot you $100 to get that on G-Fred, to get that on the front page of G-Fred. I'll shoot you some money for that.
I mean, I am not beyond that idea, to be honest. I'm not too high for that, for $100 for something like that. I'll be honest. Yeah, the you'll have to watch the pre-show to see what Nos said, but basically he was somewhat derogatory to certain groups of people who watch my videos. But yeah, I've changed up the intros to my videos recently, and I asked these guys to watch the start of one of my most recent videos. Nos had already seen them, but Josh and Hammer went to have a look to give me their initial thoughts before we came onto this and actually talked about it. And they both said, hate it, stupid, hate it, because they didn't actually watch it properly and see what it was. But I will say,
hang on.
Oh, there we go.
Can we just say You only asked us to watch the intro and nothing else.
While you were also talking in the background.
So let's just preface that. Thanks very much.
Like, while you were talking, I couldn't actually listen properly to it. I just saw like, oh, there's a clip from the actual video, and then there's the sellout bit, and then the actual video starts. And I assumed that it was one of the clips in the highlight of the video ruined at the start.
Right. To be fair, that is how I actually did start doing those video intros.
Oh, see?
So your anger wasn't necessarily misplaced, because that was a common complaint. I actually thought that, like, so for those who have, I mean, if you're watching this podcast, you've seen my new video intros, surely.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Well, I mean, will there have been one on this video?
I don't think so. I feel like I'm going to upload the podcast with just like no intro, just go straight into it, possibly.
No, dude, I want the ha-ha funny. I want the ha-ha funny at the beginning of the video.
All right, okay, fine. No, all right. Well, for those who saw it, blame Nos. I'll sort that. But yeah, there's a little like preview clip style thing, and then the little intro splash screen, then the promo, and then the main video. And when I started doing it, the little preview thing was the thing that I thought people wouldn't care about. It would be just a nice little addition, and I thought people would actually have a problem with me putting up like a promo or a sponsorship or something before a video. Turned out it was the other way around, and I got so many more complaints in the comments about the preview clip, and I didn't expect that, truthfully. I honestly did. But then because at that point I was doing a little bit of like part of the video. I didn't spoil anything from the video, but it was a part of the video. Now I've changed it to be sort of something that happened before the video starts, like we're on the grid and I make a comment or something like that. Or for an iRacing video, it's like, oh, I've botched qualifying, and then we go into the race when the video starts. So, it's something that actually happened before the video starts. So it's all in chronological order, and it's not a preview of something that's in the video. Since I've changed that, I've had no comments about it at all. Everything's been fine. No negative comments. And I guess...
Yeah, I would say that's not as bad. That's not as egregious.
It's still terrible in every way. It's not as bad.
But, I do understand it. The more that I've thought about it, to be fair, it wasn't many comments of people that didn't like the little preview clips, but I understand it that, you kind of want to have the video as nothing spoiled. Even if it's something that doesn't actually spoil what happens, you still don't want to see anything from what you're about to watch beforehand. So I get it.
I don't. Help me understand it. Just for the funsies. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, Josh and Hammer had the strongest thoughts about it. They hated it when they thought it was a preview clip.
Well, the reason that I've clicked on your video is because I want to watch the video, right? I don't need to know what happens in the video because I'm already going to watch it. I'm absolutely locked in. I'm going to watch it. Yeah, I do not need a little preview of what's going to happen in the video to make me decide, yes or no, am I going to watch this video? Don't need it. Plus, it spoils the content for later on. Like, I don't want like a little like the best part of the video up front. Why would I want that? Like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is like so okay, first of all, Broughy, what gave you the idea to do this?
I mean, I'll explain that if you want. Do you want me to explain it now? Because there is a backstory to the whole thing.
But was it just chasing trends? Like
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. To me, it's just like it's the kind of thing. Some channels do it obviously, and it works and it's fine, but it depends on like the community and the audience of that channel, right? Like younger audiences, I would guess, or like TikTokers or whatever, right? People that would watch a video, to people that would like just click on anything or leave autoplay on, right, and just skip through videos if they get bored and don't want to watch them. Whereas me and Hammer are a type of people that's we look through the sub box, we see a thumbnail, we see the title, we say, oh, that's Broughy's video, click, and then just watch the entire video from start to end, right?
That's how I do YouTube as well. But
yeah.
But I also I don't think I've ever felt when I've seen that sort of like preview thing. I haven't felt strongly about it, but I mean,
right.
Yeah, me either. Like that's typically how I do, but like,
yeah,
I don't know. I guess I see it as...
It's not just a trend that's come from YouTube, though. They do it on TV as well. Like, particularly with American shows that are really badly edited. What they'll do is they'll show a little clip of what's happening in that segment, and right before the ad, they'll show a segment of what's happening in the next segment. So you definitely come back, and then right after you come back from the break, oh, remember what happened in the first segment, because everybody's got like the memory of a goldfish. It's like, I don't need all that. I'm already watching it. I don't need to be reminded of what's just happened.
Yeah, and I understand that.
Just a nightmare.
Yeah, and I've always tried to treat my videos as being like from start to finish, uninterrupted. So I understand like changing that to have like this little preview beforehand. Yeah, I can understand the negativity about that.
I agree with you with like narrative content, but I don't know if you know this, Bruff, but your content isn't like the height of narrative storytelling. You know, you start on an island and then you go to a lighthouse and then you go to a quarry. Like it's pretty predictable. It's very very routine.
But like if you're, say for example, you've got Broughy's iRacing video, right? If you just separate the race factor from it, right? If you watch a race, right, and then see somebody crossing the line, right? See somebody crossing the line in a checkered flag right at the start of the race. Is that something you would want? Would you like?
No, I mean, I feel like, as though there's some like moderation needed. Obviously,
spitting out right at the start of your video, like. No, you're not going to want to see that. You've got to tactically use it. For your pre-roll, you wouldn't do like the checkered flag. You'd show Brough like, this is getting dicey, and nothing actually happens, and then the video starts. Like,
and that's what I tried to do,
or just do nothing.
So there is a like a reasons for all of this actually coming about. But yeah, I did try to do that, but I think also I did make a mistake on one of the very first ones I did. It was the Torero versus Torero race, and basically I showed the preview clip was me crashing. Now, in actual fact, I ended up going on to win the race, so it was kind of subverting the expectations, but it was enough that people people don't like to see anything that happens that's big. It has to be like you say, like a clip.
My level of that. If I saw that at the start of your video, you'll have to excuse me. I didn't watch that video, probably because I watched it live on Twitch. So
yeah, probably. Yeah,
you can tell by the fact that he wasn't complaining in the comments.
Even if I saw that clip with you spinning at the start, I deliberately wouldn't watch it because he spins. Probably no point in watching it.
See, someone else said that, but like someone else actually left a comment saying I don't like these preview clips. They actively stop me from watching, and I click off.
Yep.
And that was the one that I was really shocked by, because I thought, really, you would stop yourself 100%. From like the next half an hour of potential fun because of a 100%. Clip that doesn't actually give anything away.
It's like, but the point is, you don't know that at the start, and you see what presumably is the highlight of the video right at the start, and you go, well, I guess I've watched this video then, and click off. Like, I've actually done that as well before.
Yeah, it makes sense now. Like, if I
can't get to the search bar quick enough to skip the intro part of somebody's video, then it's an abandoned ship for me.
Yeah, that's wild. How it's interesting how we can sit, like, we have the duality of man here, where the 20 seconds is not what you're watching the video for, but can cause you to not watch the video. It's very strange. Does that make any sense?
No, I felt exactly the same way when I read that comment and was reading these comments. I had to like change the way that I was perceiving this, because for me it doesn't bother me, and I was trying to, from my perspective, put a clip in that I knew didn't spoil anything. If anything, it subverted the expectations of what people thought. But yeah, the people who are watching don't know that. They don't know that I'm specifically not choosing something that doesn't spoil it. So everything is a spoiler to someone watching from the other perspective.
Mm-hmm. I think a little bit of it for me as well is I've set aside time to watch this video for you, and my time is important. And if you show me just what's happening in the first 30 seconds of what's the video, then fuck it, I'll go watch something else.
I mean, that sounds like I'm valuing your time. I'm just getting straight to the point. It's like he crashes.
Well, yeah, but I get no enjoyment out of it. I get none of the build up, and none of the repercussions or anything, you know.
So yeah, I mean, the reason that it all came about is because I did the weekly update videos for GTA for a while, right? And it was going through all the discounts and stuff like that. And every so often, I would put a sponsorship in those videos. And that was my way of including sponsors in videos. I didn't do them on any other videos. I haven't done them on any other videos, any other series or anything. And that series ended. And since then, I've sort of had no way to include sponsors. But also, in addition to that, I never mention stuff like my website, like the GTA Cars website, my social media, subscribing, becoming a member, all this kind of stuff that you kind of, you have to mention to some degree and push to people to remind people to do these things. I just don't do it because it's live stream footage. I put the intro, the little splash screen, video goes up, people watch it start to finish. But I don't like the idea of putting something in the middle of a video. I don't put mid-roll ads on my videos still. We know this. We've been over all of that.
We know.
So I was basically thinking for a few months of, okay, how can I try to incorporate some of this stuff whilst also giving me the opportunity to, if a sponsorship comes along, I can say, yes, okay, let's do it. I'll put it in front of a video. And this is when I came up with the idea to, have the little pre-roll thing before the video starts. So most of the things that they're not sponsorships, they're not companies sponsoring, it's just me 10 seconds telling you about my social media on one video, 10 seconds on another video telling you about my website. It's most of it is that, but there's been, I think I've done one sponsorship, and if one comes along, I can always include it in that. And I'm basically just, my idea was to normalize it. The first 10 or 15 seconds of the video is this, and sometimes it'll be a sponsorship, sometimes it will be just me telling you about something. And people didn't seem to have a problem with that, to be fair. There were my 1 or 2 comments about it, but people seemed okay with it. But then I started to think, I can't have that be the first thing that people see in the video. I can't have, it doesn't matter for people who might just, like Nos, you're specifically clicking on a video to watch it. It doesn't really matter. You're going to watch it anyway. But anyone new to the video,
or not, I guess I don't view it as like this commitment. It's like I can leave it anytime. I can leave it anytime.
But especially for newer viewers, that can't be the first thing that they see because they'll just click off.
Yeah, so I agree with that for sure.
I had to have. That's when I thought, oh well. Let's try. I experimented with doing these little preview clips in videos years ago, actually. So I went back to that idea, and now I realize why I got rid of them. I forgot that bit. But so I thought, all right, so we'll have the little preview, gets people's attention. They do the little 10-second sponsorship, and then it's the video from start to finish, as always. No mid-rolls, no breaks. People will be happy with that, I think. Obviously, the bit that was the problem was the little preview clip. So I've changed that now to be basically something that happens before the video. So, like I said, we're on the grid, I make a comment, goes to the promo thing, and then the video starts really. And I think it works better. Nobody's commented anything negative about it, so I think people are thinking it works better. I seem to have found a good. Do you know what? There was actually a comment on yesterday's video saying they actually liked the little intros now. So, I think I've actually got to a good point with it, but I had to go through a little bit of discovery to figure out, that was the thing that I needed to do. So yeah, and it's all come about from, like I said, with the PhD thing. Like I'm actually earning less this year than last year, not just because prices have gone high, but prices have gone high for everybody. So subscriptions go down. You're not going to keep your $5 subscription to some random Twitch streamer when
your power bill's £1,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I totally understand that, and I would rather people look after themselves. But then on the flip side, I needed to find a way to sort of counter that a little bit and have the ability that if a sponsorship comes along, I'm not just going to say no because I can't figure out a way to include it in a video. And I'm not going to just suddenly start spamming sponsorships on everything, but I at least need a way to do it. And it was a double thing that I can also start promoting some of my other stuff, like my Patreon and things. So that's where it all came from. And you don't need to like necessarily worry or anything. Yes, I know I said I'm earning less and prices are going up, but it's still fine. But I needed a way to figure out going forward if it gets worse, if people stop subscribing even more and prices continue going higher. It's kind of like a future-proofing thing. So I think I've reached a good point at this point, but I guess I wanted to talk about it on the podcast just to follow up with people about it, because there was some consternation early on, I guess, when I changed it.
That's fair. And I'd like to point out, even though I am passionate about my views on the intros, I don't mind that Nos has a different view.
Yeah.
It's all down to the way that you watch the videos, and I obviously watch the videos in a different way to what Nos does. So and that's totally fine.
Well,
I'm not saying that the way that you watch them is bad by any means. Yeah. I'm just saying that it's not the way that I watch videos.
Well, in something to that. Motorcycle. Sorry. Something I would like to point out is while Hammer, you are passionate on this subject, I'm not passionate at all. So we should probably defer to the opinions of people who are passionate about this as opposed to mine. That's probably
I don't necessarily agree with that, because obviously
in this case, I would say when it turned
obviously this sort of thing works because everybody's doing it, and some people's numbers are going up because of it. So I am probably finding myself in the vocal minority on this one, but I mean,
to be fair, it did seem like it did seem like a vocal minority, because when I looked into the analytics of the videos that it was on, it didn't actually change anything. People were still watching, and if
it didn't change anything at all, then definitely just go for the quality.
But I was still so, especially when you're changing something so it's going to be in every video is changing. Basically, I'm so sensitive to people's thoughts on something like that I don't want to make a change that will suddenly, half the people watching will stop watching because of it. So yeah, I've tried to figure out the best way to do it, 20, 30 seconds maximum before the video even starts. And that's it. I'm never going to put a 2-minute video before the video starts, or I'm never going to put a 30-second sponsorship in the middle of a video. I've still got some rules about that, but hopefully people are all right about it now. I think I've found a good point. All right. Next thing to talk about, Josh.
You need to sell out more. That's my final thoughts. Sell out more. You know my position. Mid-roll ads for days, baby. It's everything.
No, I'm not doing it.
Not having mid-roll ads is a little insane. Anyway, yeah, keep going.
I refuse.
I want you to have mid-roll ads in the video, not like YouTube ones, like that you put there. That's what I want.
I'm steadfastly sticking to my thoughts on this.
To your grave.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be destitute and homeless before I put a mid-roll ad in a video.
Imagine Squidward in the cardboard box, with the mug. It's like spare change. I never rolled a mid-roll ad. Spare change.
Oh man. All right. Josh, you're in a different location again. What's going on? What happened?
Okay, so it's actually, I want to start this with, it's a damn shame that we didn't do this podcast a week ago, because I would have been in a van moving across countries, and that would have been amazing.
I mean, wasn't that the reason that we didn't do it a month ago? Because you would have been in a van.
It wasn't just because of me.
Well, no, it was. Others were, not available as well. But
yeah, I said it'll be only hilariously background a cameo for a bit. Yeah.
I think at that when you said that, I thought, especially with my thoughts that it was going to be back on the main channel, having you have terrible audio from a van as a cameo, it's probably not the best reintroduction.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I'm in another place again, except this time it's actually somewhat permanent. So I moved back to England from Ireland.
What does somewhat permanent mean? Because you've had 3 different permanent locations throughout the podcast and 20 different temporary locations.
Okay, well, when we started the podcast, it was pretty damn permanent in the flat, and then obviously, things happened. No, I'm in my parents' place again, for unknown amount of time, but my brother also wants to move in, and there's not enough space for both of us, so I'll have to move out eventually.
You'll have to fight him to the death to see who gets to live.
Who gets to exploit parents' housing, yeah.
How are they about that? Are they happy about that?
Wish I could still do that.
Oh yeah, they don't mind, yeah. They're fine with it, as far as I can tell.
Before you actually get into it, I seem to remember you staying at your parents' temporarily at some point during this podcast, maybe multiple times, but I seem to remember one time you said it's not the most ideal situation to live back with your parents. Are you still feeling the same way?
I think that comes down to a lot of life stuff as well, because at that time, that was when I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, okay.
I had no idea what was happening in the future and stuff, and I feel like it's a bit different now. It was I was coming off of living in my own place than to here. Then I went to Ireland and I lived with a housemate for ages, and now I'm here again. So it's basically just living with housemates again.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, so I've moved back to England. So when I moved to Ireland originally, 9 months ago, my life was totally different. I had no idea what I was doing, and the only thing I still had left dream wise or whatever was going to Sweden and getting into EU and stuff like that. But since then, so many other things have changed. My business is doing loads better, stream Twitch and YouTube and stuff. So that's not a big problem anymore. I have a new girlfriend, obviously, who lives here. There were business opportunities that I was missing out because I wasn't here. The loads, I can't remember all the reasons now. I wrote them all on Twitter if you want to. I wrote I did my massive life update thread thing.
If you link me that tweet thread, I'll link it in the description of this podcast when it goes up in the show notes, so people can follow up on it.
There you go then.
I'll also link my master's dissertation as well if I upload it somewhere if anyone's interested.
But yeah, so anyway, long story short, it was time to move back. I don't regret moving out there. At the time, it was the correct thing to do. I had nothing else going on, and my friend needed somewhere to move out with and stay and stuff, so it made sense.
How is that working now? Is he okay on his own now at this point?
For now, he is in the place by himself, yeah. He might try to get other housemates. I believe there was talk of buying a house with someone. I don't know, but that situation's fine without me for now. Yeah, I didn't just abandon him.
Yeah.
But yeah, the road trip back was a good laugh. So the plan was my friend Dave was gonna. Finally, the fact that his name is Dave is hilarious. My friend Dave was gonna rent a van from here. I was gonna pack all my stuff on a Thursday, Friday. Then I was gonna fly back here on the Friday, and then Faye was gonna meet me here, and then Saturday morning we're gonna go with Dave, pick up the van, and all three of us were gonna drive all the way to Ireland. Then we'd get there at night, we'd load the van, and then we go to sleep, and then we wake up in the morning and drive all the way back across the ferry.
See, this is what I got confused about in your Twitter updates, that you'd flown. I thought, why has he flown back? Why didn't he just, like, he was in Ireland. Did he just not get a van in Ireland? And then, like, don't they do that, rental places where you can pick it up one place and drop it off another place?
You can, but not. So, like, you could do it like in the UK, right? If I was going from Scotland to here, it'd be fine.
Oh, of course, because it's like EU to non-EU.
Yes,
or something. Right,
yeah.
okay.
And also the cost is enormous because you basically pay them to take the van back for you.
I thought they would just like, have that van there at a different location that they can then use.
No,
all right.
No, yeah, because they need to. Yeah, they need to have the van because it's like distribution of resources. Like otherwise, if you did that system for long enough, all of your vans would end up in London.
Yeah, I guess that's
right?
true. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah,
it was called Brexit, not Brinter. What do you mean? They'd all end up.
So it was like we had to rent for 2 days and drive it there and come back. But that was fine. We had like a company and stuff, and they allowed Irish transport and all this stuff. What else am I missing? Yeah, and then ferry was fine, all that stuff. But I was flying here because it was like I'm the one paying for the van and stuff, so I had to be here where it was picked up, and it made more sense for me to fly here than it was for Faye and Dave to fly to Ireland to start the road trip.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm packing away, like time's come, I'm getting ready to move, and Friday morning-ish, midday, about 10 a.m, my friend Dave sends me a panicked message on Discord saying that the van company just rang him and said that we don't have a van for 10 a.m. the next day.
Oh my god.
Saying that like it had crashed or been and totaled and written off or something, and there was no other available van apparently. So I was like, okay, because it took us quite a substantial amount of effort to find a van that we could rent to go across countries with,
Oh god, that's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's like I'm like I've deconstructed all my computer and everything. It's all in boxes. All of my stuff is in boxes. I'm like almost done packing. So I'm just like, right, that's kind of panicking. So Dave said that the guy will ring me in 10 minutes. So I was like, okay. So I just sat there and anxiously waited. I didn't want to keep carrying boxes because the second I pick one up, they're gonna ring. And they're heavy. But yeah, so I waited 30 minutes and the guy didn't ring me. So I was just like, okay, I'll just ring him because Dave gave me his number. So I just rang him. He didn't pick up the first time. I rang again. The second time he picked up and was just like, oh, sorry, I'm busy with a customer. I'll bring you back. So then I waited another 30 minutes, like not knowing what's happening.
This is like hell.
Yeah, it's just like in 3 hours I get on a plane and fly back here. And then by the time I land and I'm all done with that, everywhere's closed. So it's just like I need to know what's happening right now. So I rang him back. I eventually got an answer out of him, and he was just like, yeah, he told me the same thing. Like, yeah, it's written off. There's like no other options. What they could offer me was a VW Caddy 7-seater that they would take the back seats out of. And I'm just like, that's not going to move me internationally. I was like, I paid extra for the Ireland coverage. Like, you see that? Like, that's not going to work. I'm moving country.
Oh, God. This is just like all nightmares. Like, I hate moving. Just for things like this that could go wrong, and they always do. Yeah, and I was just like, I was pretty mad on the phone. I was like, but you're a massive, I won't name the company, but you're a pretty big company. Like, do you have like other branches nearby that have anything? And he's like, no, nothing. It's just like, what the hell? So I was like, okay, well, I'm just screwed then. Like, what do I do? And he was like, oh, I don't know. I was just like, well, do you know any other companies I could try? And he gave me another company name, and just like, that was it. And I was just like, then I had all my stuff packed. I needed to leave the next day. And it's not like we could just delay it a week, because like people weren't available, and I'd already paid the ferry, which was the most expensive part, because I have to load a van onto a ferry both ways, and that was like non-refundable and stuff. So it was like, and like, what am I supposed to do? Unpack or live out of boxes for like a week? Or like... And that was it. He just like that was it. He just left you to
fend
for yourself at that point.
Yep. So then I'm like panicking and I'm messaging Dave about it, and he's like busy at work and looking after his kid and stuff. So we both eventually get on Discord. I like steal my housemate's PC for a bit, and then we just like panic search every single van rental company in Hampshire, all of them.
Oh my lord.
We started with websites, but the websites were all like, oh yeah, put in your thing and we'll get back to you within 10 hours. It's just like, no.
That's not gonna work.
Yeah. So then we just started ringing places. Eventually I got through to a nice lady at like a company, and she was just like, I explained the situation that I'd done 20 times at that point, and she was like looking around and she's like, oh, sorry, I don't have anything. Oh, well, unless, and I was just like, what? I'll just take anything. And she was like, well, we do have a Luton van. And I was just like, but Luton's in London. That's way too far. That's not going to work. And she's like, what are you talking about? No, and the Luton's the type of van.
Yeah, I've never actually heard that reference before.
She just said it to me. Like, everyone I've said this to has been like, what the hell is that? And like, if you Google it, I think it actually comes up. Like, LUTO.
I'm gonna show it on the screen now.
Yeah, it is the right thing, and it is the right term apparently. But anyway, she had to double check, and she asked me what driving license Dave had, and I was just like, just a normal one. A Luton van is the exact maximum size vehicle you are allowed to drive with a normal driving license.
It's the limit.
For comparison, let me show you the U-Haul that I rented when I moved. That they will let any mongoloid drive.
You're allowed to drive anything, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's exactly 2.5 tons or 3.5 or whatever.
So that's the limit. That's all you can do.
It's exactly 7 meters wide, and it's exactly long, and it's exactly the width or whatever. It was like, I was like, Dave, I know you. How do you feel about driving for 2 days straight with the largest vehicle you've ever driven and you ever will? and also, like, I had packed all of my. So when I moved out there originally, I put all my stuff in a van and it just barely fit. So I knew how much stuff I could take back. I had prepared enough stuff. I'd gotten rid of loads of things and all this crap.
Of course, yeah.
So I had exactly enough stuff to fit in a van, and now I have to load it in like one of these. I could have moved every object in the house, like not just my housemates as well. I could have moved all of it.
Yeah, you suddenly had a load of space.
Yeah, and we were like, it's like, how's that going to work with like all the stuff moving around, and we're going on a boat for crying out loud. Like,
yeah.
So it's just like,
weigh it all down and make sure it doesn't smash.
But yeah, that was it. That was the only thing we found. That was literally the only thing. We reserved it.
Was it more expensive than the like your previous solution, or was it cheaper or the same? Did it not really make a difference?
I don't think it really made it. Well, okay, we'll get back to that. But the base rate didn't make a difference. Yeah, so you're allowed to drive that, Nos?
That's a 26-foot U-Haul super mover, baby. That's the backbone of moving in America.
With a trailer as well? Correct?
With a trailer. You don't need no license. You don't need no regulation. You just hook it up and you go.
Right.
You guys just have no rules about anything, do you?
Why do you think I love our country so much? Why do you think I'm so patriotic?
Freedom, baby. Freedom in a massive U-Haul. All right.
So yeah, we got that van. Yeah, there was nothing. Long story short, there was nothing else. I had some travel difficulties getting back here on the Friday to add to the stress as well. But I made it. But then on the Saturday morning, we got there. Annoyingly, someone sniped our first spot, even though we were there like half an hour early. They wouldn't let us in early, but they let this guy in early. But as we're going through the paperwork and stuff, the lady's like asking us all these questions and stuff like that. And at some point, she asked me where I lived and where I was moving to. And I said, I was moving to here and I live in Ireland. And then she looked at me like, you're not moving your stuff from Ireland, are you? And I was like, no. And she was like, oh, okay, good, because you're definitely not taking this to Ireland. And me and Dave were just like, yeah, of course.
Oh, right, okay, so you technically weren't even allowed to take the van to Ireland.
No, there was no insurance or coverage or breakdown cover or whatever.
Wait, did she say that like seriously, or was she saying it like, oh, you can't do that, knowing that you probably would?
I took it as if seriously at the start, but the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking she was like winky face at me or whatever. Right. Because she did drop the whole question of where I was moving from.
She didn't like pursue it any further.
Yeah.
Okay.
But imagine answering questions truthfully.
But then the thing she did after that was, well, I slipped up. I didn't think about it. But the thing she did after that was she got the piece of paper that was like the agreement, and she circled the box that said, you get 250 miles and every other mile costs 20p. Or 0.20 or no 20. I can't remember how much it was. So she was like, oh yeah, here's the extra mile charges. I don't think you'll go over 250 miles, but here it is, winky face. It's like, I'm like, right.
So that is where the extra cost came in, that you had like more from that, where you wouldn't have had that with the other one.
Yeah, the other one was like unlimited miles or 1,000 or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, this one was 250 miles, and then you paid. It was like 15p plus VAT extra or something.
Okay.
Yeah, but it still was fine. Like it cost too much. Like I think they charged me the base rate and then they charged me a deposit. But I didn't get the deposit back, and they charged me like an extra £23 at the end for the extra. But yeah, it was like twice the cost of the van that I was going to rent.
Right, okay. Ugh. You should name and shame the company.
No. I'm not that kind of person to start shit.
Okay.
But like, because like, I don't know, like legitimately, if it did crash and it was their only one, like, what are they? I don't know. The guy, what's he supposed to do?
I don't know, not be a dick about it. Maybe you think about that.
But it worked, right? Like you got everything back, nothing was broken. Like,
oh yeah, it was. We panic went to the supermarket on the way, and we got a bunch of like blue string. Some of it. A bunch of blue string stuff, like rope sort of thing. A bunch of. I can't remember the other stuff we got, but anyway, we got a bunch of things to help us load the van. But we got to where I was living, and where I was living was like on a main road, and we were like right on a corner, and like cars come out of the road and then turn like left and right. But we just slammed the massive van right in front of the house. So as you were coming out of that road, you couldn't see anything. This massive truck.
You're one of those.
Yeah. But like, what else am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
So we had to load the van, which was interesting with the hydraulic loader. We didn't use it. We just put it down, and then I just like lifted stuff over and just climbed in. But yeah, me and Faye organized all the stuff. We tied all the ropes. We just like tied a bunch of stuff down. We kept the monitors and the bike separate from the rest of the stuff because all that could get crushed with each other and it'd be fine. And then we just threw a bunch of other stuff in, like my washing basket full of hangers, and the rest of the string we just left on a bundle in the ground. Then we drove all the way back. We went over a boat. We drove through like hills and mountains and stuff, and we had stops, and we came all the way back here. We opened the thing, and I kid you not, a single hanger had fallen out of the washing basket. Everything else was exactly where we left it. The string that was on the ground was in the same place.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Like, what the hell? Yeah. So that went really well.
It's always an adventure with you, isn't it? Like when you're
yes, that's exactly what I've said to them. It's like it's boring for me. But yeah. Oh, and also on the way there, we had to rush to get the boat. We didn't stop a single time all the way through England and Wales.
Ah, right, okay.
Because we had like 10 minutes to get to the boat, because it took forever to pick up the van and get the extra stuff. But yeah, that's the story. So apart from the Friday and the Saturday, everything else was fine. It all went well in the end, and now I'm here.
So what is next then? Like, how long are you going to be in your parents' place? Have you got a plan for like what comes next? Like,
no specific plan. I don't know. It's like I'm probably going to get a place on my own for a bit, but I'm not sure exactly the details. I don't know. I'm not too fussed because yeah, it's just like being back here and was like what was important. So yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
You're closer to the missus, and you're closer to everything that you've grown up with, I suppose, as well. Like, were you a little like homesick in Ireland?
Oh yeah, I was pretty homesick and stuff.
Oh wow, okay.
Because especially in Ireland, I said I lived in Dublin, but I didn't. I was just like, because it was the only city large enough I felt comfortable telling people I lived in.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ireland is like all villages and little towns and cities and stuff. And I was like, I've lived in a massive metropolis my whole life. And I was just like, I kind of miss resources and services and stuff.
I'd be the complete other way. So it's like everything's so loud.
Yeah. I'm definitely not a city dweller.
Yeah, no, I missed it a lot. But yeah, that's that. I'm not sure what's next, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Hopefully.
Oh, well, I mean, are you actually in a different location for this podcast?
Right. So yeah, the rooms when I lived here previously, this was my bedroom and the other room was the office. But we swapped them now because this room's bigger.
Okay.
So I am actually I think I did a podcast at the end of the bed, which was here, sat on a laptop there. So I've technically been in this room before, but not this angle.
You've been on the podcast the least, and you have had the most different locations for the podcast. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I'm happy that you're happier now. You know.
Yes.
It's a good job you've realised that, having moved to Ireland rather than making the big plunge and moving to Sweden and then being homesick. That would have been more of an effort.
Yes. It was a good thing that I did like a little mini move. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Do you see Sweden in your future? What happened to Nos? Nos is gone. Oh, he's back.
Oh, I'm back.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Do you see Sweden in your future again, or do you think
I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that fussed about that specifically. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
just wherever you go, you stick to a city.
Yeah, stick to cities definitely. Yeah.
I wish you luck. It's difficult. Life is hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every day that passes, my hope of obtaining homeownership wanes.
Oh, God. Is it really? Is it getting worse?
I mean, it just in general. It's just
I suppose. Yeah.
It's hard kind of for everybody.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I mean, let's come on to you, Nos, because we're technically starting the gaming news segment, but I mean, you've got the main topic of this.
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to think if I have any like life updates. I don't think I do.
Yeah, I've skipped over that just because you didn't mention any previously.
Yeah,
so I thought...
I didn't know if I had any. I mean, my credit score's 721 now. Woo. You know, I don't know if that has any reference.
I feel like that pales a little bit in comparison to your previous updates of like getting a vasectomy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just it's just grinding. I'm starting to work more.
That's a good question. What Phil asked: have jobs at the pizza place filled again? Because everybody had like left, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's the cycle continues as it does.
Is it all new people?
Yeah, we got quite a few new people, and they're working okay, and everything. Everything's pretty stable at the moment. So in terms of work, but
oh man,
I wish a vasectomy improved your credit score. In fact, I think it should. I think it should. That just logically makes sense. But yeah, just grinding. I'm trying to work at least like 45 hours a week or so, so I can get like 10 hours of overtime every 2 weeks, get a little more money, and try my best to save for a house. But every time you save a little bit, something happens and you got to spend more money. You'll save up. It's like, oh, I've done real good this month. I've saved up $800, and then you got to get something done to one of the cars, or whatever.
Yep, that's life.
Yeah, unfortunately, that
Sucks,
is life. If only my mother wouldn't have lied to me, huh? It would have been great.
Yeah.
So,
are you talking to her anymore or anything like that?
No,
it's been so long since we've had any update on that.
Yeah, there has been no update. It's been over a year. I actually moved into this place a year and 12 days ago.
Oh, really?
I moved in on November 1st. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And I haven't talked to my mother since mid-October of last year.
Wow. But you got your money back, right? Like that you'd put into the house, the previous house.
Well, yeah, technically, yes, but like, okay, so here, I'll try to explain it and think about it. Okay, so
for those new to the show, by the way, you're gonna have to go watch back some old episodes to hear about all this.
Long story
we're
short,
not explaining it all.
I can do it very quickly. All right, it's not that deep. I mean, it is, but it's also not. It's like my mother and I had agreement what she wanted to do. She always wanted to move to Birmingham, the city in Alabama, and have a condo. She had financed a mobile home, which in the U.S. is not what you're thinking of if you live elsewhere.
It's basically a permanent home, really, isn't it? Like,
yeah, basically. Anyway, so we came to an agreement. I would help her pay off that place. Then she would live there, like basically bill-free for quite a while, save up money, and then move to a condo in Birmingham like she's always wanted. But I started, after I paid for half the place, about $15,000, I started to use it. Like, I started to have friends over, and I got a girlfriend, and, lots of other stuff. And she decided she was giving me my money and kicking me out. And she gave me my money back over the course of like 6 months. And I did technically get the money back, obviously, but the expenses of having to move and of all of these bills I've had to take on.
Yeah, like you're renting now from being in a position where you were going to have no bills.
$825. I'm just gone.
Yeah.
Then the power, and because this is an old shitty house, it doesn't hold heat well, so I'm using the heat more. The power bill's more expensive than it would be at the other place. Basically, I without consent, I gave her an interest-free loan, essentially, and what I got in return for it was being kicked out. Yeah. So, because every dime of that $15,000 has went into the excess bills I would have paid here moving in. I had to pay first, last month's, and a pet deposit just to get into this place, all of which were equal to 1 month's rent. So that's $825 times 3 just to move in.
Christ.
Yeah,
that's insane.
yeah, it's pretty insane whenever you have to find a place on very short notice. Well, see, that's the thing, Cooper. Well, there was nothing lending money. It was not a loan. It never was. Like, I was, the agreement was that I was basically paying for my place and my stake in that place. And the idea was that I was going to stay there for the extended future. And she, certainly was. Or she was going to move, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, you had, a house that was going to be paid off and minimal bills and everything that was all ready to go, basically.
Yeah, essentially, this is actually an update. She's put the place in under another loan as well.
Okay.
Yeah, she got another loan so she could go back to school for really no reason. If you ask me, it's not going to improve her wages or anything like that. It's just something, teehee, I want to do it. I guess. So
I understand why you haven't spoken to her for a year then.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like all that hard work, and to get a home that was that no one could ever take from you, and then you put it under another loan. It's like I could understand selling it and then moving and then having a loan on that place. That's just kind of how an asset works. But to just put the place you already have under another loan, it's garbage. Yeah. It's absolute garbage.
Phil asked, is that not the same in the UK? I mean, when I rented, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I think I had to pay the first month for the first month in advance and the deposit, which was the first month's amount. And then that was it, I think.
Yeah, well, I had to do a pet deposit too, because we've got Mavis's cat. So.
But I thought you said you had to do first month, last. Oh, so last month counts as the sort of deposit of.
Yeah,
at the end of right. Okay,
so.
Okay, I gotcha.
So, Yeah. So anyway, I guess that's it for me. Life update is just I'm trying my best to be in a position where I buy a house, and I doubt just a little more every day that I will be able to. So
that's rough.
Yeah.
I understand.
It is. It is rough. It's just, when things just constantly keep happening that are draining your account.
Yeah.
And you're not saving and you're actually losing money. It's real hard to stay in good spirits.
Freaking DeRogan in the chat. Didn't Broughy also just announce going back to school for teehee? I want to do it. God damn it.
Yeah, but you didn't.
Yeah, I've also deferred it for a year to actually think about it properly and whether I can take this time away from earning money.
So.
All right, go on then. Tell us what you've been doing gaming related.
Oh yeah, gaming news. So we on one of the last podcasts we actually talked about how I was playing through Red Dead Redemption 2, if you remember, with a bunch of mods. And I've decided that I'm going to make a mod.
Have you ever made a mod for anything before?
No, I have no experience doing anything. So, but I've learned a lot about at least just this specific file. So I'll try to explain it in very basic terms. So do we all know? We all know what Red Dead Redemption 2 is here, hopefully, and like have the basic functions of the game.
I don't think we need to go that basic.
Yeah. Well, so let's say you want to add an item to the game, right? The way that the game is structured, there's this one file called catalog SP, and you think, oh, catalog, so that has like all the data on the catalog. No, it has almost all of the data for every item in the game, every menu layout in the game, every effect that an item can give the player. It has the data on that, and it also it's a 500,000 long line file that has the data on basically everything to do with an item or a menu in the entire game. So when someone makes a mod, it'll typically be packaged like here's my mod that adds 5 shirts. Here's a modified catalog SP file, and then by virtue of that, like you can only use one of these files at a time. Mm-hmm. You can't use multiple of the same file, obviously. Mm-hmm. So it means nothing is compatible. What makes it worse is that in the vanilla game, obviously it's a file from an already developed game. It's a complete fucking mess. It's completely unorganized in every way. You don't know what's what. And most of the hashes for the file are unhashed. So like running it through an unhashed tool, like most of the hashes are known, but a lot of them aren't. So my goal is to basically take this one file and I'm breaking it down and organizing it and commenting through it and sorting it. And then I'm also adding essentially I'm adding in slots where all you'll have to do, like if you want to install clothing mod or whatever, is you take a certain section of text and you paste it into a predetermined place in this file. Essentially. So that's what the goal of the project is.
So that means you would be able to sort of download multiple different clothing mods and copy paste each one into this file, so you could have them all at the same time.
Into the file. Like essentially, it'll facilitate like users making their own merges, because for like now in the modding community, like you basically just have to go and be like, hey, can you merge your mod with these 7 other mods that are constantly being updated because I want you to, and like that's garbage.
Right.
So instead of a mod being packaged as like, here's these files you need to replace, it would, if it was compatible with this framework, it would be patched, or it would be presented as like, here's all of this text and where to paste it, essentially. So
it seems like such a like the fact that it's all just one file and you can only do one thing at a time sounds so like bizarre, because I think that the most experience I have with modding is through Xerxes. She downloads so many mods for Sims 4, and she's got all these different like files and folders, and she just puts them all in, and they're all there in the game, and
Yeah. Well, the like logically, you would think that like, so like take a Bethesda game for instance. Like say you want to you want to make a mod, or like each weapon kind of has its own file that the game calls from, right? So like if you want to edit or change that weapon, you would edit or change that one file that relates to that weapon.
Yeah.
But, with Red Dead, and I think definitely GTA to an extent too, like I think they're both kind of similar, is that you have to edit one big file to add one small thing, because everything's combined. So what I'll be doing, like I won't actually be splitting the file up, because you can't do that, it wouldn't work. But like using comments, basically what you'll be able to do is follow very simple instructions. Like paste, like Control F, fucking less than exclamation, blah, 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 and paste this here. And then Control F this, paste this here. Control F this, paste this here. Boom. You've now got everything, And I'm restructuring the menus in the game too, to where all of your content that comes from mods will be like segregated from the vanilla content. So like in the wardrobe, for instance, the way that most mods work now is that like everything just vomited into your one wardrobe menu. But now it'll be like you go down, you select, DLC wardrobes, and then you select on an option, then it's going to open up a completely different menu that has all of the clothing from one mod in it, so that you can always know where something is coming from, so that if you ever need to go like remove the mod or go back to vanilla or whatever, you can make sure that you've removed all of the content from your character, before you do so. Because if you don't, you break your saves essentially.
That sounds pretty cool that you're working on this, and
yeah, and it's going pretty well, honestly. Like all of the features I've wanted to do and add, it's been kind of a situation where like I've seen other mods do one of the features I want to have, but not the rest. So it's like I know individually all the things I want to do can be done, because I've seen 12 other mods do it. It's just the matter of the very busy work of organizing this file, which is in complete disarray. And then the harder part is definitely has been understanding exactly how the code works in terms of like a menu's code and how it relates to how the menu is displayed. Josh, I don't think you haven't played it, have you? Red Dead 2, or have you?
I've played Red Dead 2, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you have... So when you go into a store, you have the physical catalog, right? That you open this book. That physical catalog, other than for items that are like really basic, like you buy an apple, you click on an apple, it puts an apple in your inventory. All of the clothing and weapons and stuff, it's not bought through that menu. That menu simply links to another menu in the game's code where you buy everything.
Right. It's just a visual representation of a normal menu. You mean it's like
like but the catalog layout is the code for it is basically the same as the code for all the other menus. It's just packaged different. So like when you click on a hat, it doesn't give you the hat. It takes you over to a completely other menu where you then view the hat. Right? And then if you want to, and this is a separate menu in the code, right? And then when you click on that hat to choose a different swatch for it, so like a different color, that's a completely separate menu too.
Right.
So like there's the physical catalog, there's the traditional menus. That's what I've been calling them. Whereas like it pops up on the left-hand screen, and you have little menu options. And then there's also the swatches menus too.
Right.
So,
but the catalog is still data driven. It's like you can add a hat and it will appear in the catalog.
Yes.
It's not like hard coded. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can it seems like the way it is, like the sky's the limit. Like you can even call from right now, from my understanding for the modding scene of Red Dead 2, is that you can basically do anything other than add in custom models. You can replace models with your custom models, but you can't just add in a completely new model. Right, like that functionality isn't there yet. Mm-hmm. But like for instance, you can call to different textures. So basically, the way that I'm going to have the DLC shops work is like you'll flip open the physical book and there'll be a section called DLC storefronts or some other bullshit right there.
Yeah.
And then you turn to it, and then that page will actually have like a custom art on the page that would be created by the mod creator. And then when you click on that page in the physical catalog, it then takes you to the menu, the traditional menu, where it has all the clothing options, basically. So, yeah. I'm glad that you say it makes sense, because I've tried to explain this to several people, and they like, this doesn't make sense.
I'm following everything you're saying. So the actual primary goal of the work would be to organize the main data file. I can't remember what you said it was called, catalog.data or whatever.
Yeah.
Organize it to the point where it's like obvious. You don't need a machine to like add in the stuff in the correct place. You can do it by hand. You can take multiple mods you want just by hand out of the okay.
Exactly.
Would you make like a mod loader then? Like, I guess organizing the file first would be.
Well, no. There's already a mod loader that's been created for the game that that does that. So basically, like, the installation process would look like you go to Nexus, you download Catalog Framework, which is what I'm calling it, and then that would be like a mod itself. And then anytime you wanted to add things to it, like, you would go into the folder with all those, with the Catalog Framework files, and you would edit that, basically.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, you would edit that by hand. And the catalog file, like, you add things to other files whenever you add clothing mods too. But it's different in the fact that the other files you would be editing are kind of just a big block of text you add entries to. Catalog is different because it has so many different sections you have to add something to. But, like, for instance, there's another file that's pretty central to it called shop items. And all that is like a list of all of the items and properties, like defining, like, if a hat has a bunch of swatches or whatever. But all you would do to that to add a mod is just paste a block of text at the end of it. So it doesn't really need to be organized. But Catalog SP does.
Yeah.
So
makes sense. Yeah. I'm just wondering if it would, like, I know this is getting a bit out of scope for what you were saying, but I'm wondering if it would be like possible to break down that file into separate files. I know the game won't read them, but then create a mod loader.
That's what I'm doing already. See, I thought about this. Like, what I'm doing is basically, so I took the catalog SP file and I'm removing stuff from it, right? And putting them in its own individual files, and then I'm going to reassemble it, essentially. Hopefully, at some point, someone much smarter than me could possibly create a script to do this.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. Like, that's why I'm asking if,
Yeah,
but
so I don't know how to do that, but I know how to split the thing up and wait for someone to do that.
Yes, that makes sense.
Because there'll physically be like a commented thing that says, like, wardrobe DLC 1 slot, and that's where you'd paste something. So I'm sure some script could find it easily.
I was saying, like, you could make a program that you would take you could make a program that you download the mod off the website, which is just the catalog dot whatever with the edit. It would read the file, it would find all the things that weren't in the base file, strip them out, and just put them into your file.
Yeah.
Right. So then you could automatically just merge stuff. It's automatic mod merger. That's what I'm trying to say. There you go.
Yeah. You could do that. The only thing with that would be possibly that there are some mod creators on the Nexus that, like, their shit is both hashed and unorganized.
Right.
Particularly the one guy who has, like, the biggest, most comprehensive, like, additions to the game. Like, he uses hashed files. Apparently, from what I've heard, he has, like, a spreadsheet that he references that has all the hashes and all the items in it, and then correlates that to working with the file. So the problem would be, and it would still be unorganized too. So, like, you wouldn't, even if you were able to, like, use a program to compare, like, a modded file and the vanilla one, like, you still wouldn't know what goes where, really.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So that would be kind of the problem there.
Yeah, I don't know. I obviously don't know anything about it, but, like, I feel like this file, it can be read by the computer. Obviously, like, that's such a basic bitch response. Like, the file can be read by the computer. I mean, like,
I know what you're saying.
The game is understanding it somehow. Therefore, it is possible to like make it understandable in another program, and then you you can figure out the differences, right? Like I don't know the details, but like there's no way that if you had enough of a data engineer, that's what you need for this. If you had like a data engineer, you would be able to solve this problem. I'm not that person.
Yeah, no, I'm not either. Which is why I'm going for the tiny brain copy paste in this slot.
Yeah, manually doing everything.
Because at the end of the day, because I've like thought this through, obviously, and like I think you would have to make your catalog SP. Like if I set it up the way I want, I think you would have to copy and paste text 4 times.
Right.
Basically, that's it. So like you copy and paste your like the custom wardrobe, the custom storefront, actually 3 times if you don't have any bundles. Which the bundles are like if you buy 1 item and you get 4, like an outfit or whatever. That's defined in that file too.
So they're in a separate place, yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah, they're in a separate place in this one file.
Yeah.
So you copy paste the individual wardrobe, the individual storefront for your mod, the bundles if you have any, and then the data for all the items and their values at the bottom, and that's it.
Right.
So
yeah, it's definitely doable by hand. It's just when you talk to a programmer about editing files and copy pasting things in the right place by hand, it's like alarm bells are ringing. Like, make a program to do this. Like,
yeah. And like I said, I would if I was actually I was actually educated, but I'm not. So I'm doing this. This like a caveman. Like caveman's first modding.
Yeah, you'll do the brunt work, and then someone will be like, "Oh, I can make a script to do this." Then because you did all the hard stuff.
That's
what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. And part of what I want to do is like I don't care about I'm not doing it for the fame or the glory. Okay, I just want the game to be better. You know, like I just want people to experience the most content possible.
Yeah, so it's like this is a really simple thing, and it sounds when you think of it, it's like why hasn't anyone done this?
Because it takes hours and hours,
and everyone and all the people that have experience modding the game want to add content to it. They're like artists and stuff, right? None of them are like interested in doing data management. So it's like, you need someone to do this.
Yeah, exactly. And,
you're the ground
part
floor,
of it is
man.
I'm doing it for myself too.
You're on the ground floor level. You're doing the brunt work that all mods are going to use in the future.
No, I'm like unironically, that's what I'm doing actually.
Yeah,
like I obviously can't force anyone to use this framework, but I hope that the benefits of doing so will be so obvious that no one will really want to like edit their own file ever again, basically.
There's lots of examples of this, like Minecraft or any game that has like mods, like mod loaders and stuff like that. Like everyone normally just adopts the first one that gets made or whatever. Like it's
because there's already a mod loader and like all the other framework stuff. It's just like this seems to be the one sticking point that's a big problem, and hopefully I can solve that. And
it's cool that you're doing that. Yeah. Like you've found you genuinely, you're doing it for yourself as well, as you said. You're interested in it. Like,
and I mean, and frankly, so far I've been good at it. And there'll be still a degree of customization available too. Like I've already made a template of a menu layout that someone could use and just add their items into. But like if you actually know what you're doing, since everything will be segregated, you could lay your DLC shop's menu or your DLC wardrobe menu or whatever, you could lay it out however you want and whatever categories you want, because it'd be its own entry in this big file. So like if you don't think that the wardrobe should be, or like your DLC wardrobe should be organized in this way, you can completely redo it if you like. But I just wanted to make an accessible template for people to use. In order to, I want the most plebeian people, like that exist to be able to like add mods to the game. Essentially,
it's a noble goal.
So, and I'm also gonna make like a video series too that that explains it and how to add mods and how to install and all that stuff too.
It's really cool. I mean, the chat was going on during that about me not saying anything and being confused, and Derodian said, I estimate that was at least 15 straight minutes of no words from Broughy. I mean, I'm okay with that. I was having a little break. I was nice. I was just enjoying listening to it.
Yeah, he's talked this whole time.
I was happy to listen because it's
but I will,
interesting.
I will have updates next month because I've given about a month time estimate on doing it because I've been working on it a couple hours each day, and it seems like the bulk of the thing is like a lot of the file is semi-organized already. Like the like each shop inventory has its own like section that I could just pull out. Each storefront like menu layout has its own thing. The hard part will be down at the bottom half of this file is literally just like all of the data for each item in the game. Like the value and what model it calls to and what functions it calls to, everything like that. So I'll have to pick those out like one by one and organize them in a semi-meaningful way because I want people to be able to modify the existing stuff in the game too. Like if I wanted to make an economy rebalance mod where I change the prices of a bunch of different items, I want that to be facilitated through this framework too. So it's like here's my mod that rebalances the price of animal pelts. So what you do, here's this block of text, and you replace the animal pelt section of this section, and then boom, everything's changed.
That's cool.
So
it's interesting. I'm looking forward to updates on it.
Yes, me too. Me too. I am too. So I think I think it's actually going to be a big deal for what is inherently like a kind of small niche community, I think.
Yeah, are there many people actually modding Red Dead Redemption 2?
Not. I mean, there are quite a few people that are modding it, but I think a lot of stuff like this is like holding people back from messing with mods too. Yeah. Like with how kind of complicated it is to add items, because that's what everybody wants to do. Like script mods are like just kind of cut and dry. Like you just put an ASI file in the game directory and boom, you have this mod that adds in a bunch of stuff. But that's not typically what I think most people want to do. Is they're like, oh man, I wish I had 1 million different colors of this jacket. Like that's what people seem to really want from the modding community, and that's the part that seems to be the most difficult right now. So hopefully I can rectify that.
Cool. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Is there any other gaming news beyond that? Like, I'm scratching my brain for anything that's really happened gaming related in the last month.
It's a bit game developer-y, but
that's fallen in line with what we've just been talking about.
Oh yeah,
Mick Gordon, is that his name?
That's his name.
Yeah. He yes, the guy who makes the Doom soundtrack. When Doom Eternal came out, there was like drama about the OST, like the individual, when you like buy the soundtrack to the game. There was like drama about that not being available at launch, and it was delayed and stuff. And then when it came out, it was like produced really badly and not great. And
was it the person who made the music who had the problem with like it would cause? Oh, I can't remember much about it, and I didn't read like the new update on it, so I'm in the dark on all this.
The lead dev of id posted on the subreddit, on a Doom subreddit, and he was just like explaining all the difficulties, and was like, oh yeah, we had difficulties with Mick, and it was like I can't remember all of the things he said either.
Is Mick the creator of the music? Composer, okay,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. And he was
by all accounts like pretty cool, right? Like from what I understand. Yeah.
But the Reddit thing was just basically like blaming breakdown of stuff between them and whatever. A year and a half later, Mick has posted a response to this, basically saying, going through everything that happened from start to finish,
manifesto
with like pictures and screenshots proving everything he's saying.
Yeah, I mean,
of like everything that's gone wrong and how it's all id's fault and how he worked like stupid hours to try to get this done and stuff. And he wasn't even contracted to make the OST until after it was announced, and then he had to like go through a bunch of hoops to get it all. It's like an hour-long blog post to read
Yeah, Kurakuma said it was a 1 hour read on Reddit. Like, I think I clicked on it and I saw how long it was, and I kind of like, okay, I'm not invested enough in this story.
You just click on that and you're like, yeah, I bet he's right. Yeah. And you don't even read it. Yeah. Like, you just click on it. Like, if you're going to type up an hour manifesto on why you're right, let's back up a minute. That probably doesn't make you right.
Yeah, you click on it, you see how small the scroll bar is, and you're like, is it one of these infinitely scrolling pages? You go down, it's just all blog posts. You're like, oh. Yeah, I read it all. It was a read. I wouldn't say it's good. It's not fun to read, but it's a read. Yeah, it's just basically like they manipulated him into not talking about it so that they could post the Reddit post before he talked about it. And then they were like then they strung him along with a bunch of other court proceedings and like, oh, we'll fix this stuff just to make him not say anything, until eventually he's been like, okay, you're just fucking with me. And then he's like got lawyers involved, and then they've written this big thing. And it's just like they tried to settle with him and pay him like a 6-figure sum or something to not talk about it and to shut up. But he was just like, no, I value my reputation and stuff more than just being paid off. Because like as a contractor, like your reputation's pretty important, right? Like,
if you want more jobs for other games and other music,
especially when you are the like one of the best composers in the soundtrack business. Like
however much money you give him will not be worth the future money he could earn by having this good.
And at some point, when you're an artist like that, and you're just constantly getting fucked by the corporations, your reputation and your morals are like kind of all you have left at the end of the day, too. Because like that seems to be the recurring theme whenever we talk about anything related to this. Is that the artist always gets fucked, always, every time, 100%. If you're an artist, you're getting fucked right now. So.
Yeah, everything people are saying in chat is like, snippets of information as well. Like, he had to write all of the music before the levels were even done, which is like impossible.
Yeah, exactly. You need to set the mood to something that you can't conceptualize yet. Like, how do you do that?
And like, and the OST, it turns out that he actually didn't produce it at all. Like in the end, he made some stuff for it, and then they took that stuff and they added a ton more shit to it that wasn't good, and then just sold that, and that's why it's bad. And everyone blamed Mick for just not caring about it, but it wasn't at all.
Wow.
But if you have an hour free and you want to be mad, read that.
Yeah, that's gotta be so hard to be an invested, like, passionate composer, and then to have people just assume you didn't care, and that's why it's bad.
And the way
that's awful.
And the way it's marketed is just like, oh, Mick Gordon's OST and stuff. It's got his name all over it. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, because he's been the composer of every Doom game since the beginning. Mm-hmm. So
that's good. I mean, I'm glad he did that and actually got it all out there. Like,
one definitely probably one of the most influential video game composers ever. I mean, Doom was the influential game with the influential music for a long time. So. Yeah. I mean, that's like I could still hum out the like main theme in my head, and I've never played a Doom game. That shows you how important that musical work was for video gaming. If I've never played the game and I know what the soundtrack sounds like, that means it has like transcended that one video game.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why people wanted the OST, because they just like the music, not necessarily the games, right?
Here's I just had the gaming news pop into my head as you were talking about that, speaking of getting fucked by companies. The whole Bayonetta 3 voice actor thing that had multiple different changes and ups and downs, and that was an interesting one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that is the complete opposite of this situation, where the artist has come out throwing shit first, and then the company's been like, you what? No. And then she's like changed her story multiple times. It's just like, wait, you're just lying then. Like, what?
I don't know what she was thinking.
All I got from that is that I kind of feel bad for Jennifer Hale. That's like, that's kind of it. To like be the one who comes in after all this is like, hey, I'm the voice actress now. It's like, that's gotta suck. Especially for such a talented voice actress. I mean, she voiced a lot of people's favorite character ever, which is, the female Shepard from Mass Effect. So
I never played. No, I might have played as female shepherd for one playthrough of Mass Effect 1 because you had to go back through it to get all the achievements and do different like types.
Yeah, see, I'm the same way, but like judging how everyone loves female shepherd, and I've seen clips of obviously of playthroughs with female shepherd. It's really great. I still prefer like report to the ship. We'll bang. I still prefer Mark Meer, but Jennifer Hale's great.
Yeah, they were both fantastic as the two shepherds, I think. But
which is impressive, given that one isn't like inherently like worse than the other. Like they're both very, very great choices. Like you cannot go wrong with which one you play as, and that's a test. That's impressive.
The one thing that surprised me during this whole story, the Bayonetta story, was how voice actors, like initially it seemed like it was the perfect springboard for how voice actors are just treated like shit, and all the other crap that's come out about her specifically has overshadowed all of that. Like the fact that they don't get any kind of like residuals or anything when every other media does, actors and all this kind of stuff, like voice actors for games don't, and like it kind of brings into a question of sort of not just voice actors but also then the devs and like everyone gets paid for a piece of product.
Bruh, under a capitalist structure of the economy, the proletariat is always under the subjugation of the bourgeois. Okay.
I know, it's so frustrating that that's how life is, and all this money goes to the executives, and the people making the stuff don't get any extra than just, here's your salary. Okay,
that's why we, as the proletariat, as our only weapon, is collective action against the bourgeois class. Okay. I love Disco Elysium. And Marxism too. Marxism's just a good fun time. It doesn't make you depressed at all.
It's funny you should mention Disco Elysium.
That is actually gaming news. Shit, that's gaming news we can talk about.
There was news about that, wasn't there?
Yeah, how the company has just like completely fucked over the creators of the game.
Oh, yes.
I saw something about that.
Yeah, didn't they just took the IP or whatever, right?
Basically, like, and ousted the creator. Like, I don't know enough about it to like speak as gospel on the subject. But yeah, it seems pretty terrible. Also, play Disco Elysium, please. I'm begging you, anyone. If you've not played Disco Elysium, please play it.
I remember hearing about it, that game, when it came out, and I thought, like, it was something that I thought, oh, that sounds fun. That sounds like something that I would play, and I've still never played it. I can't even remember. It's been so long, I can't even remember what it's about.
It is. How do I explain it? Okay, so you are an alcoholic detective with amnesia in a very unique world, investigating the murder of a mercenary, and there's a bunch of different factions, and like I can't explain it. I actually can't explain the game.
What is the gameplay of it? Is this like third person, the first person, top down?
It's an isometric adventure story game. So there's no like combat or anything. It's downplaying it a bit to say this, but it's like a glorified point and click game. Like you still walk around and do stuff and investigate stuff. But like there's no actual combat in the game. Everything's done through like skill points and dice rolls, essentially.
Oh, okay.
And the way that the game is structured is that like failures aren't actually failures, and like whether good or bad, you pass a check or fail it, everything plays into the story in a very cohesive way that like makes every experience unique and fantastic and wonderful.
I've only ever heard good things about it. So
yeah, it's Disco Elysium is like, it's a very highbrow game, I think. Like if you're 18 and you've played Call of Duty your whole life and you don't know what a politics is, you're not going to enjoy Disco Elysium. Like the game is not for you. But if you have some kind of basic understanding of like people's attitudes and political structures and things like that, Disco Elysium is an amazing commentary on a lot of elements.
Is it worth getting
on
the Switch?
I mean, yeah, you could get you could get it on the Switch.
Like control wise, does it need to be like on PC or something, or can it be played?
No, it definitely does not. You could. I think the game is so easy to play that you could probably play it through like just your thoughts.
Okay.
Because all you do is literally, I played it with a controller. You just walk around and you click menu options basically.
Okay.
But
that's
it
the
would
biggest chance that I'll actually play something if it's on the Switch.
It would be a really good game for the Switch. I think. Is it on the Switch? I don't know if it's on the
I've
Switch.
just looked at it. The Final Cut or something edition.
Oh, okay.
Switch.
Yeah, because it's not a particularly demanding game, like performance-wise or anything like that. Okay. So no, you don't need a PhD in law and politics to understand it. You just need to know like a basic thing. Well, you need to know like the difference between like liberalism and conservatism and fascism and communism, and like just like know the basics essentially of like different ideologies, and then you could really kind of, the game will honestly go in depth for you, like how the ultra liberal characters, like the representative from the dock company, like is really just concerned with getting workers back to work and continuing to make money at all costs, because that's that position. And then you have the like communist Marxist like union workers, where like the tagline for them is every member every worker a member of the board. Like that's so it's
I see. That's fun. I think I'm gonna look at that properly and maybe.
I think you should play it, and I think the Switch, like chilling in bed, would be like that'd be the perfect time to play Disco Elysium. Honestly,
okay,
so
cool. All right then, let's move on to. We can actually have something to talk about in Racing Corner.
And I can talk about it too, because I know it's awesome, dude. Oh my god, it's the best moment in NASCAR history ever.
Magnussen pole, isn't that great?
So we had two things to talk about.
Yeah, one of them interesting and one of them not. We'll let you decide which is which.
I mean, Magnussen pole, I just put it in because it happened yesterday. The sprint races, as we're recording this, in like an hour, not half an hour.
We're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah, I know, but like it's just amazing that he was out of Formula One completely, and then only came back in because of the whole Russia-Ukraine thing where Mazepin got kicked out because he was Russian, and then they brought Magnussen back in.
Based. By the way, I don't know anything about the situation, but that sounds pretty based.
And he's done well this season, but he comes and gets a pole position in like crazy conditions for Haas, the American team who hasn't ever had a pole position or anything. Like,
oh, now you've got me interested.
Now there you go.
The American team doing well. I want the American team to come out on top in Formula One every time. That would be nice.
But the main thing that was part of the racing news for this month, really, this was everywhere, wasn't it? What's his name? I don't want to get Ross Chastain, right? I don't watch NASCAR. That's his name.
Oh, I don't watch it either. I've just watched this clip, and it's the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
I need to actually find the clip.
This one goes out to all of the idiots in Forza Horizon who ever complained about a wall ride. Okay, this is a legitimate tactic. Every time I've done it, it has been merely a preamble to the best move in all of NASCAR history. Can we show it? Are you going to show it?
I feel like I can take the risk.
It's been reposted everywhere.
Yeah, I think enough.
Yeah, there's no copyright here.
I need to.
Oh my god!
Let me just seek to the section because this video is the last few laps rather than just the last lap on its own.
Dude, imagine that you've watched the past 20 years of NASCAR waiting for something interesting to happen, and it finally happens.
I know, right?
It finally happens. The pure joy and ecstasy a live watcher of NASCAR must have experienced. Look at this. Look at this genius. Look at this absolute genius.
He needed a top 5 to get into the final shootout or something, wasn't it? Like this was the last lap.
This was the 11th hour.
And he passes the guy who he needed to beat to get in and kicks him out on the very last corner.
Look at this genius.
It's unbelievable. I mean,
will it give you a replay in this video?
Yeah,
it should give us look at this genius. He just fucking zooms on the wall around like 7 people and gets into the chase.
Yeah, when he talked about it after, it's just like you get the gravity of the situation. Like he asked his engineer, okay, what do we need? And he said 5th or whatever, and he just said like okay, and he put it into max gear, put his foot down before a corner that you have to brake for, by the way. Drives
what is this? Is this Martinsville? Was this on Martinsville?
It's a tiny oval, Martinsville, I think.
I know all the NASCAR tracks still.
He puts it into the oval. Right, he puts it into the wall and he lets go of the wheel and keeps his foot pinned. And he just thinks to himself, hope I don't catch the fence and literally fucking die. Right?
Oh my god!
It's like,
I think this guy is young too. This is a move that could only be fucking done by the video game generation.
He literally quotes 2005 NASCAR GameCube as the inspiration for doing it. He literally, it's not even like you must just play video games, lol. He literally says it in the interview afterwards. Like, it works in video games. I always wanted to try it, so I thought I would.
Copyright says in the chat that the normal corner speed is 60 miles an hour and he was going 170.
He got fastest lap by like 3 seconds.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It was like 3 seconds. Everyone had like a lap time of 20 seconds, 27, 20 point like whatever, and then he comes on with like 17, 18 seconds or something.
Yeah. Obviously, his car for the record, his car is totally destroyed. Like you can't just do this every lap.
This is a last lap move for sure.
Yeah. The onboard cam is ridiculous. You see how much damage is happening, but like, what if the NASCAR meta changes and like on the small ovals like Martinsville, you just
the last lap, everyone just slams,
just grinds the wall last lap.
That's when I like. Yeah, it's incredible, but I can't see how they could like allow that because surely everyone's gonna do it on the last lap of a small track like that.
So what? This is America, baby. Well, that's what we're watching NASCAR for. Is to
NASCAR
watch the
have
crashes.
Come out and said that they're not going to do anything about it right now, at least. So
see, genius. If this happened in Formula One, there would be a this man. There would be some kind of trial. That he would have to go through.
That video is incredible. The onboard, it's so
there
would
be a tribunal to eject this man from all motorsports ever if it happened anywhere in Europe.
It's the fact that it worked so flawlessly to get him exactly what he needed to get in. Like he passed the person who he knocked out. Like it was the perfect situation of last gasp Hail Mary, and it worked exactly as it needed to. It's just, it's incredible. It was really, I was amazed by that. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like that it didn't seem real.
Yeah, all of the driver radios are just like, what the hell was that? Like,
DeRogan's comment. Oh my god, that's so good. Give a 10-second penalty for driving the car in an unsafe condition after the mirror broke off.
That's what Formula One would do. Oh man, it was so. I actually listened to the I saw a video that popped up of like the team radios of all the different teams and at that time, and it showed you the same thing happening over and over again from different cars and different radios. And yeah, like you say, that his radio was just like, okay, what do we need? We need this, and it was incredible. And then everybody else's radio was like, he really just do that? Has he really just done like? It was amazing. All the spotters going, what? Wait, what is? Yeah, I know, like, unbelievable. Like, what a moment.
That car outside clear. Like, could you imagine? Can you imagine an iRacing call
from
someone shooting past you on the wall?
The guy in 5th or 4th or whatever position it was, who's like needed that position to also get in. He's battling someone at the time.
I know.
And he gets around the last corner, right? And the guy's behind him, and he's like, "I got it! I got the position I need." And the guy just fucking flies past him on the outside. Like, what would you be thinking? Just like.
Well, actually, I think I remember I listened to his radio, and it was like it could from his perspective, and it was like it was something like, "So is that us out then?" So like, oh my god, I can't believe I've just been knocked out by that. Oh man,
it's great. It's amazing.
That is one of the best
so...
things in motorsport that's ever happened.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's incredible. And it was right after a really boring F1 race as well.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone immediately forgot about the F1 and was just tweeting about that instead.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's Racing Corner done. Is there actually anything for Speedrun Corner, or are we are we wrapping up?
The last thing I mentioned, like in regards to this thing, is I like the motorsport moments that are like very easily marketable to people who don't know even what a car is.
Yeah,
you know, like this is just so obviously visually amazing. But like, if you were to explain to me something amazing that happened in F1, it's like I need to have a bachelor's degree in engineering. It's like, okay, so when he pitted at this exact nanosecond on lap 73, and he applied the soft tires and not the medium tires. This was a revolutionary move that would come to fruition 45 minutes later at the end of the race.
Yeah, it's fair.
That's like just fall asleep.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Speedrun Corner. Yeah. Anything in there?
Not that I could see. I always forget. I swear I see things and then I'm like, oh, that's interesting, and then I don't note them down because I'm.
Can you tell us a little bit about your do some self-promotion? Tell us a little bit about your design your own mission runs that you've been doing, because I don't think you've talked about them on the podcast before.
Sure, I guess I haven't. There's a mod for San Andreas called Design Your Own Mission, where it's like a mod that helps you make missions. Hey, like it's what Nos is trying to do.
It doesn't help you make good missions. However,
no, it's a mod that helps you make content. Yeah, it lets people make missions, and there's like a website with a database of like tens of thousands of missions people have made for like the past 10 years or however long, 20 years.
Huh.
One of the devs of the randomizer mod for San Andreas would just normally use it to like make the game super random, like random vehicles and weapons and colors and all this stuff. They made a randomizer for Dwom, so like I shorten it to Dwom. I don't say it right. It should be Diom, yeah. But anyway, they made a mod that randomizes it. So you go on the mod, you press load mission, you press random mission, and it pulls a completely random mission off of this website, and you just play it, and it's amazing. And I've been doing speed runs, air quotes, of it, where So this is heavily inspired from Mario Maker speedruns and Trackmania random map speedruns. But for an hour, I play the random missions, and every time I pass a mission, I get a point, and every time I skip a mission that I can't beat, I lose a point. And then at the end, you see how many points you have, and then that's your PB or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great content. It's like I've been thinking
it's really good content.
This has been the randomizer has been a thing for ages, and I was thinking about this idea for ages, like inspired by Mario Maker and stuff. And yeah, I stream not to promote super hard, but I stream it for 3 hours, and then each hour run I cut off and I put into YouTube, and it's just like it's great YouTube content, like a nice little package, and it works with stream as well. It's just been great.
And it's unique in a way that like there's no. Like in typical speedruns, like you're seeing someone who's really good at the mechanics of the game play the same content repeatedly.
Yeah.
But now you get to see someone who's very good at the mechanics of the game play brand new content within that game every single time. It's different every time,
and that's fun for me as well. Like I find fun ways to break things and skip stuff and but like the broken English. The terrible English, the random languages. There's like, they've updated the randomizer mod with things that I've asked for this, and we've got like a Google Translate thing in now. We've got like a text to speech program that reads the voices because there's no voice lines; it's just text normally. But there's like a text to speech thing that tries to figure out which character is talking and talks for them and stuff. It's amazing. It's like a whole. There's like this whole subset of my community now that's like dedicated to the Dwom stuff, and there's all sorts of like its own references and memes and stuff. Like I could say like James Kenneth and Time to Make a Decision, and
I need to watch some of this on YouTube. I think this sounds really good.
Yeah, it's ridiculous because it's like I'm just playing, and I'll just play someone was like a teenager in 2013, and they make a mission about their life. like a day in their life or whatever.
Yeah, like going to school.
They don't say it. They don't say it's them, but it's just like it's just a bunch of random people's names that like from foreign country. Like, this is just some guy and all of his friends. Like he's just made a mission about them. And you're just playing it, and it's amazing. It's just so much random stuff. There's some people make missions that are just like little films, like machinima. So I like start the mission. I have a rule where I'm not allowed to skip a cutscene unless I've already watched it. So I don't just blast through all the cutscenes and have no idea what's happening. But sometimes I'm just sitting there just watching a cutscene for like 20 minutes. Yeah, walk the food. Yeah, that's another one. That's another
and then mission pass.
There's so many because in San Andreas you can't have the letters with the accents on. Some of the words don't translate properly. So whenever I play a Polish mission, if it tells me to like drive somewhere, it says eat, because the Polish word without the accents that is drive translates to eat. So I have to eat the man or something, right?
So what would be the like of all the videos of this that you've put up on YouTube so far, if there was one that you would say for the first time? Because I want to watch one of these, but which one should I start with?
It's difficult because like there's so many
good ones.
It's like, but
I understand like if I had to choose which random race for someone to watch the first time or something, it's difficult, but like there's got to be at least like some that
I'm trying to think what is the best one, like that Faye thinks the early ones. I would say there's one called Clown Fiesta, I think. Where is it? Oh my god! So all of my thumbnails for this, I normally just take like a quote from one of the missions and I make and a screenshot and I make it the thumbnail.
Okay.
And I've got it sows the field and it's me in a tractor driving like just for a field. And there's one that's fuck, I think that Adolfler is screwed up and it's a cow exploding and I'm flying out of it. And that's like a quote from the same mission. There's one, Gary Bottom is now attacked by a brain stroke. It's like all of this is amazing. I think the one called is it Absolute Clown Fiesta, I think? Yeah, this one is a screenshot of 5 CJs doing hooker dances, because you can put any animation on any model. So they took like the pole dancer animations and put it on the CJ. Is it this one? Is this the one with the... Yeah, this one is the one. This, yeah, I'll link it to you. This one has a good mix of like funny missions, I think, but also there's like one mission that's really difficult and I like clutch it out by like knowing how to break the game and stuff.
Okay.
I know.
So it gives you like a bit of everything, like the good person at the game playing the crazy stuff and also the funny stuff and I'll link that in the description and stuff as well. The podcast.
Oh my god. Yeah, I remember Redacted versus Redacted. There was a mission I got that was like Palestine versus Israel or whatever, and it was some recreation of some religious, like
just some casual war crimes against the Palestinian populace.
It was very not okay. But yeah, I need to make like a highlights video of all the best bits, because a lot of them are like there's like one really funny mission in each of these videos, and like then there's like the rest of them are like fine but not that great.
This is like such infinite content, by the way, for you, and everyone loves it. It's great.
I would like to claim some credit that I didn't just stumble on this, and I have been thinking about this for a very long time. But yeah, it's great. I didn't do any of the work towards the mod, so yeah, shout outs to Parik and 123 Robot for making this
real legends,
and then like asking me for feedback on how they can implement my exact like rule set and stuff, and they've done that. Because now now like the timer is like the in-game timer. The mod outputs the score into a text file automatically for me and all this other stuff. And the mission name and the year it was made and the author is in a text file. I render it out and stuff. It's great.
This is giving me like Jan in the chat said people like randomness in video games. Who knew? But like this whole thing is giving me thoughts of the random alls and the random races that I do, like without the amazing people who make them, like Insomniac who did the whole thing in the first place. And it's like it's like infinite content. It's different every time. It's so random, and it's all reliant on someone deciding to make something like this. Like, I couldn't have done it. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. Faye's just in the chat is just typing just references to, like, it's just so many quotes you could, with it's endless barrel of quotes, like, forever. Like, popping sound, like, is hilarious. Do you see that one, Lost Popping Sound?
I don't think I saw that one.
Okay.
I might have missed that one.
That was, yeah.
Because I try to watch as many of them as you can, but you're like actually making some content here. It's hard for me to get to all of it.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really talked about that, but yeah, business-wise, I've changed a lot. I'm posting a YouTube video like every other day, and I have been doing like for 6 months or something.
Yeah, I think I remember you mentioning that on like Twitter or something, but you've never spoke about it on the podcast that you've actually started to, put videos up for once.
Yeah, I know. Actually, normally my YouTube was just like dead until I PB'd a speedrun, and then I'd post it and then be like gone for another 6 months until I finish another run.
Yeah.
But, yeah, just little changes in content, like little YouTube. Like, before I do a thing, I just speak out a YouTube video intro, and then I just go back to being a streamer. But it's just like enough to like make it actually work as content.
Yeah, it's good. Any news about the ad experiments? I've moved it to next month even. We'll talk about that. There was so much to talk about in this one. I'll bring that up next month. So I think that's about it. We've talked about a lot. I'll leave links to various things in the description and pinned comment and whatnot for things we've talked about. And there's all links to all of our channels and stuff in the description as well. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. For those who've got here, it's good to be back on the main channel. Hopefully some of you are watching for the first time and enjoyed it. There's an entire podcast channel and playlist. The playlist's always going to be linked in the description as well, so you can see all the old episodes. And then the podcast channel will have the pre-show, which always comes out a week after the podcast. And then any clips that get taken out will go up on the podcast channel as well. So feel free to subscribe to that. And thank you for all the love in the chat as well. All right. I guess that's it then.
I think so. I think we talked about a good selection of things today. It was a fun time.
Time to go watch the Formula One sprint race.
Yes, let's go watch Kevin Magnussen get overtaken.
Yeah.
It's time for me to go to work.
Yay.
Oh boy.
Have fun, Nos.
Yeah, I'll probably be there for a good 10 hours or so. It's great.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Do you want to say goodbye, guys?
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
See you later, Chris.